2-1, I'm on scene. I'll be assuming Caroline Street Command. I got a 2.5-story wood occupied multiple dwelling. I got heavy fire from the second floor, Charlie side. I have an exposure on the Delta side. We have one line stretch not in operation yet. Primary searches are underway. Status of the fire is doubtful. 1, passing command. I'm on the first line. Speed advised. We're on speed. 2-story wood frame. I got heavy fire from the Alpha side.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Volley Chief. I apologize for my absence over the past week on social media. I have spent the past week in Disney World. I actually ran one of the Run Disney events. It's called the Dopey Challenge. So I ran Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I did a 5K, a 10K, a half marathon, and then the full 4 days in a row. So very grueling schedule, a lot of waking up early and running, and something I always wanted to accomplish. I've done some of the races before, but I never did the full challenge event. So I'm proud to report that I successfully completed it, along with my running partner, Bree, my sister. We managed to pull through, so that's where we've been. I thought I'd actually take a second and talk about Walt Disney and firefighting, because there is a little bit of a connection. And I actually, a couple of fun facts about Walt Disney and the fire department. Most people know that in the original Disneyland park in Anaheim, California, Walt had a fire apartment above the fire station. So the Main Street USA, as we all know, the entrance to the parks was set to look like the turn of the century America Town, so it was complete with the firehouse in both versions, the California and the Florida one. And in the California version, Walt had an apartment above it. One of the fun Disney trivia facts is there was a light in the front window, and when Walt would come into the park, he would turn the light on. It was kind of an unofficial signal, like the bat signal, to let everybody know that he was in the park. So just something that, a little bit of Disney trivia. The other piece of Disney trivia that involves firefighting is that there's actually one very famous... Sorry about that, a little bit of technical difficulty there, but we're back. So the other interesting fact is there's a very famous painting. It's actually become a statue now. It's all over the place in the fire service, of Mickey holding a fireman's hand, like shaking a fireman's hand. And there's actually a very interesting backstory to that. So that firefighter is a actual firefighter. He's a captain in the Anaheim Fire Department named David Baker, and he was a rookie at the time of the drawing was made, and it was done in 1993 as a way of thanking the firefighters in California for some of the large brush fires they had that year. And what makes it unique in the Disney world is that it's the first painting of Mickey with a life-size human other than Walt Disney. So for people like me who are Disney geeks, and you guys know my other podcast about Disney, it is an interesting piece, because it really, for the Walt Disney Company, they felt so strongly that they wanted to do a tribute to the firefighters that they put him in a category that was always reserved for Walt, and that was being of human size and true size with a human looking up at a human. So it's just a neat little Disney fact, as you guys know my affection for Disney. So we'll get on with the show today. I have a very, very special guest, probably the most special guest I've ever had on the show, even more so than Chief Thode and Mike and those guys. So I'm going to let her introduce herself, and then we're going to talk a little bit about fire safety in our communities and how we present it. So, okay, go ahead with your introduction.
Hi, my name's Amelia, and I am 8 years old, and I'm in 3rd grade.
Okay, so my daughter Amelia, we're going to talk a little bit about fire prevention and what we do in our communities. Now, most of us, especially, the volunteer, even in the career world, our focus of fire prevention is usually during October, right? Fire Prevention Week. That's when we go to the schools, we do things. But we're in the community a lot, and there's always an opportunity to talk fire safety and to preach that, what we want the public to do. And there's kind of a couple big topics. Now, they've changed over the years, because when I first joined the fire department and you went and talked to kids about fire safety, we taught them how to pull the pull boxes. Obviously, that was a few years ago, and since then, cell phones came about. Even really, the use of 911 has become predominant all over the country in the mid-early 90s. You know, there's still some spots, if you would remember when you would travel and you'd go over the state lines, like some of the cell phone were like Star SP or stuff like that, but 911 is now taken over. But we teach it. You know, we teach the kids what number is, you know, what number to call in the event of an emergency. Other things, though, that you need to teach the kids besides that is they need to know their phone number, their address, you know, their name, common things like that to help, you know, first responders get to their houses. Another common topic we talk about is what to do if your clothes catch fire. Now, I feel like nowadays I don't want to say it isn't a huge problem, but thanks to the internet and TikTok and YouTube, I see it a lot more, and I see a lot of it. A lot of times people are trying something, but it's very simple, right? What do we teach kids if their clothes catch on fire?
We stop, drop, and roll.
Right, stop, drop, and roll. It's the basic, you know, way to extinguish a fire if your clothing is on fire. You know, the big thing to remember to tell people is to just cover their face with their hands, and that'll protect their face, their airway. It's actually kind of funny. I don't mean it's funny that this happened, but I actually have a relative when we were growing up that my cousin Chrissy used to swear her house was haunted. And in doing some research on the Derby Fire Department, I actually found out that a girl had died because her clothing caught on fire in their house in like 1909. So when I called to tell her that, I you know, found that there was someone died in a fire in her house, she swears that that's who it was. But it was obviously a bigger problem years ago with the more loose-fitting and flammable clothing. We don't see it as much nowadays, but usually when you do see it, it's pretty horrific. It's newsworthy because of the rarity of it. But the stop, drop, and roll is one of the easiest ways going. Another common fire prevention, if you will, lesson is what to do if you're in your house and you wait middle of the night, you're sleeping, and the smoke alarm goes off. You know what you're supposed to do.
You're supposed to get down on the ground low, because that's the most safest thing. Because if you go up higher, you will lose more air cells, and make sure that you get out of the house more quickly.
Right, and when you get out of the house, how do you do that? Do you just open the door and run down the hallway?
No.
Right, what are you supposed to do first?
You're supposed to put the back of your hand on the door, so that way you can tell if there's a fire in there or not.
And then when you get out of the house, where are you supposed to go?
You can discuss with your family to find a meeting place outside your house. And for
Pop quiz, where's our meeting place?
the mailbox.
Very good. So a meeting place outside the house. It's very important, and a lot of over the years I've observed a lot of these, and that's something that a lot of people leave out, is that meeting place. And that's one of the most important things, is because, as we know, we pull up on scene as everybody out, and half the family's on one side of the house and half the family's on the other. It creates confusion. So that meeting place is a good spot. The way my house is situated, the mailbox, perfect spot. So they know to go to the mailbox if there's a problem. Most apartments don't really do a coordinated effort. It's kind of like hit or miss. So over the years, and again, I've observed a lot of them, there's no standardized in our area like message. So there's nobody coming together and saying, okay, this year this is what we're pushing, or we're really want to stress this topic, or even standardization. We have 4 schools in our town. We have 4 companies. Each company takes a school, and they kind of do their own thing. So you could have one company focusing on something, stop, drop, and roll. One company focusing on calling 911. It's just something that we really could better coordinate. There are a lot of resources out there, and this is one of the things that I've talked a lot with people, is where to get resources to do these things. Perhaps the easiest and best spot is the NFPA, right? The National Fire Protection. Every year they put out the theme of Fire Protection Week, and then they'll give you a lot of pamphlets, documents, things like that to to give out to the kids. And obviously, we usually bring some additional stuff. We'll bring our plastic helmets, some coloring books, some crayons. One of the firehouses in town, the Hotchkiss Hose, every year they give out trick-or-treat bags. Fire Prevention Week's beginning October. Halloween's coming in a couple of weeks. You'd be amazed how many kids you see walking around town with their trick-or-treat bags. It's a very good PR marketing strategy. Also, don't be afraid to hit all the grades. A lot of times you'll hear, we just do the elementary schools, or we don't do the elementary schools. I always found it important to hit everybody. Start, preschool with the little kids, change your lessons, make them appropriate, but work your way up. The high school kids need to hear it too, especially because they're at that age now where YouTube and TikTok and the newest trend of this and that, you want them to understand the real world dangers of it. So, Amelia, what do you think about fire prevention? Do you think that you get enough of it in school, or do you think you should have more?
I think we should have more of it.
More of it? Why? Like, what more do you want?
I think that, like, a week in October, we should have Fire Safety Week, because every single month we have this one thing that we do to prevent, but sometimes we all forget about it, and when it's too cold out, we don't do it.
So those are your monthly fire drills at school, right? Oh, no, you do something else besides that? Okay. I thought you just did your monthly fire drills.
No, we do not.
Oh, okay. So what else do you want the people out there listening to know about fire safety? Am I missing anything? Go ahead.
That you should probably just, like, when you have, like, your fire safety week at school, I think you should pay more attention to it than talking to your friends, because it's a really important thing in life. You never know when something could happen.
And now, have you ever had to call 911?
No.
No, that's good. It's a good thing. We don't want you to have to call 911.
I think it's because my parents are very protective of me, and they just love us so much that they try not to make anything happen.
I feel like at this point you're just trying to suck up, but we'll continue on. So, we covered stop, drop, and roll, right? Calling 911. We talked about your exit drills in the home. Smoke alarms, right? We have smoke alarms, and we have CO alarms in the house. So if we have any of those problems, you know what to do there. You talked about that, about getting low. It's very important to get low, get out of the house. What other safety things do you think that we should talk about as firefighters to kids?
Pool safety.
Pool safety. Why do you think? Do you think that's something that the firemen should talk to the kids about?
Yes, because you never know when you and your friends can be out at the pool or the beach, and something could happen where lightning strikes or something and you're in the water and you don't know what to do.
What about shark attacks? Should we talk about those, or do you think we're good there?
I'm too scared for that.
Okay. So, that's a good one, though. Pool safety. I mean, drowning is one of the number one causes of death of kids under 5. And unfortunately, the fire department gets called to a lot of those scenes. So that's a very good thought, Amelia, about pool safety. Could be something that could be incorporated. Obviously, up here in New England in October, you're not thinking swimming pool. You're thinking more like, it's obviously getting into the winter then, so you're not thinking swimming pools. But maybe that's something that they should go back to.
I think in England it gets really icy out, and you never know. You could be walking over a pond, so you can take a stick and you can stab it where it looks watery, and then if it breaks, you know that it's a pond. Because my dad was talking about earlier that a lot of people break through the ice and can't get out in time.
You mean New England, not England?
Yeah, sometimes I get mixed up.
It's okay. It happens, England, New England. Yeah. There's Old England, there's New England. They have a funny accent to us, and we have a funny accent to them. So what other safety things do you think? So we talked pool safety. We talked fire safety. You mentioned lightning, thunderstorms. That's a very good point, too, that they're Go ahead.
Tornadoes.
Tornado safety, right? So weather safety. Up here we have a lot of thunderstorms, but fortunately we don't have a lot of tornadoes. We just had a little bit of an ice storm, blizzards, so that there are a lot of different safety factors that have to be thought of for those types of events, especially like a long-term power outage. What else? Go ahead. You want to go?
I think earthquakes.
Oh, I didn't know that we were in a seismic zone, but Earthquakes could be another one.
So if you're ever in a situation in an earthquake, you should get something underneath sturdy. But if you can't find anything, go into the corner of your couch and put your hands over your neck and duck down. Because then when stuff falls down, it'll protect you.
Where do you learn this?
Family Fun Pack. They have fire safety every single day because they live somewhere where they have tornadoes, hurricanes, and earthquakes.
Do they live on Disaster Island?
I think so.
Yeah. Okay, so earthquake safety, yeah. If you're right though, because in this part of the country in Connecticut, we don't worry about earthquakes. But if you move to certain parts, right, the South Carolina, Charleston area, Missouri area, and then again the West Coast, Alaska, around the Ring of Fire, you are prone to earthquakes. That's a very good point. And then in the Midwest, tornadoes. Obviously along the coast, even here in Connecticut, we've had our fair share of tropical storms and hurricanes. Just and again, the bigger problems with those things are the flooding, the storm surge, and the power outages. Very good, Amelia. You're rolling on this one.
Thank you.
All right, so coming up this week, next week, we'll have a new episode out. The studio's almost done. I've got the microphone installed. I'm just fine-tuning, and I'm going to begin my video podcast. So it's going to be broadcast here on your podcast platforms, and again on YouTube is going to be our next our leap. So I'm going to give Amelia a chance to say goodnight to everybody. Go ahead.
Good night, and I also have one more thing.
Okay, go for it.
Make sure you check out Cutie Pie.
Okay, so with that being said, did you say goodnight to everybody?
Yes, I did.
Okay, so we're going to get Amelia off to bed now because it's getting late, and she's a big day at school tomorrow, right?
What am I doing?
I don't know. It's Thursday. What do you guys do in school on Thursday?
Nothing.
Oh.
I have science.
Oh, okay. There you go. You have science. So tomorrow's science day in school. So that's it for the Volley Chief this week. I want to thank my special guest for child fire safety, Amelia.
Thank you.
And again, next week we got a new show coming, so stay tuned. Have a good night.